Alright, let's go back to that week. You know the one. The internet was a war zone. Spoilers were flying like stray bullets. You're doing your best to dodge them, just trying to make it to the official release with your eyes unspoiled. And then, it happened. The panel dropped. I remember just staring at my screen for a solid minute, just silence. There was no epic monologue, no final stand, just that. The strongest character of the modern era, the man who was our safety net, was gone. And it felt wrong. It still feels wrong. I remember just staring at my screen for a solid minute, just silence. There was no epic monologue, no final stand, just that. The strongest character of the modern era, the man who was our safety net, was gone. And it felt wrong. It still feels wrong. For years, Satoru Gojo was a fundamental law of the JJK universe. No matter how bad things got, we could always tell ourselves, it's okay, Gojo will show up eventually. He wasn't just a character, he was the promise of a solution. And then, just like that, the promise was broken. Or was it? Because I've been doing this a long time, and my gut tells me this wasn't an ending. It was a plot twist disguised as a tragedy. The author, Gege Akutami, didn't just kill a character. He presented us with a mystery, Gojo Satoru, the first sorcerer born with both the 6 eyes and the limitless technique in 400 years, making him a walking god. His primary nemesis, Kenjaku, spent 1,000 years planning just to trap him in a box called the Prison Realm. After our boy finally gets out, he immediately jumps into a death match with Ryomen Sukuna, the King of Curses, who has hijacked the body of his adoptive son, Megumi Fushiguro. It's the battle of the century, a clash that literally rewrites the laws of physics, and Gojo loses. The official report says Sukuna's attack bypassed his ultimate defense, infinity, and sliced through reality itself. A clean kill. But that's where our investigation begins. The official story is neat and tidy, too tidy. Which leads us to the central question of this case file, the question that has kept the fandom theorizing for months. Did Satoru Gojo's story truly end in chapter 236? Or did he just get moved to a different plane of existence entirely? To solve this, we can't just look at the end result. We have to follow the evidence, piece by piece. Our investigation starts with our first mini-question. Why was the death of the most important character handled so strangely? This is Exhibit A, the crime scene. Look, Gege Akutami does not pull punches. We saw Nanami get obliterated in front of Yuji, and we felt every second of it. We saw Nobara's face explode. We are constantly shown the brutal, agonizing reality of death in this world. But for Gojo, the undisputed king, he gets taken out off-panel. There's no final defiant monologue, no last look at his students. We just cut back to his body on the ground. In storytelling, that's called a deliberate omission. An author doesn't accidentally forget to show the most impactful moment. They hide it for a reason. And that reason is that what happened in that unseen moment wasn't a simple death. The first clue is that there's a piece of the story missing. Okay, so if the death scene itself is suspicious, that leads to our next question. Where did Gojo go right after he was killed? This brings us to Exhibit B, the airport, a metaphysical waiting room where Gojo meets the ghosts of his past. Now, most people saw this as a confirmation of death. But let's look closer. This isn't a generic white light afterlife. It's a specific, symbolic space. Nanami presents him with a choice. Go north, to be reborn as someone new, to find peace. Go south, to remain Satoru Gojo and stay tethered to your life's regrets and passions. In many Eastern philosophies, these directions have deep meaning. North is release, the end of a cycle. South is the direction of the living world, of continued struggle. He is being presented with a choice about his continued existence. And what does Gojo, the man who has never followed anyone's path but his own, do? He talks, he reminisces, and he chooses neither. The answer isn't north or south. The answer is that he's in a place where such a choice is even possible. He's not in heaven. He's in a transit lounge for the soul. This feels like a huge leap, right? A soul transit lounge? But it leads to our third question. Is there any precedent for this kind of thing happening to Gojo? Exhibit C, the prison realm. For 1,489 days, Gojo was not here, but not dead. His consciousness was fully active, trapped in a dimension where time doesn't flow. The story has already spent years establishing that Gojo can exist in a state of being that is separate from our physical reality. His enemy's entire plan revolved around this concept. So, if his enemies could do it to him, why couldn't his own power do the same as a last resort defense mechanism? The prison realm wasn't just a plot device, it was foreshadowing. So, the scene is suspicious, he went to a soul space, and it's happened before. This brings us to our final clue, a crucial one. How did the winner, Sukuna, react? Exhibit D, the perpetrator's testimony. Sukuna is the definition of arrogance. When he wins, he gloats, he revels in it. But after killing Gojo, he's annoyed. He looks at Gojo's body and says, "Even in death, he bothers me." This is so out of character. It's the reaction of someone who knows the job isn't truly finished. It's the feeling of deleting a file, but the icon is still grayed out on your desktop. You can't open it, but you know it's not really gone. Sukuna won the physical fight, but he senses that he didn't capture the king. Gojo's soul slipped through his fingers. Now, before we deliver our final verdict, let's address the arguments from the other precincts. I've seen them all online, and we need to clear the board. Counter Theory 1. It was just a death dream. Seriously? After all the complex lore about souls, cursed techniques, and innate domains, we're going with he dreamed it? That's like solving a murder by saying the victim tripped. It's lazy, and frankly, it's a little insulting to both us and the author. We're better than that. Counter Theory 2. But Gege said he's dead. Oh, the Word of God argument. I love this one. Yes, Gege said he's dead. The narrator said he's dead. And I'm here to tell you, they're not lying. They're just not telling you the whole truth. It's the oldest trick in the book. His body is dead. It's a corpse. No one is disputing that. But we're not investigating his body. We're investigating him. Counter Theory 3. Sukuna's slash erases everything. It's a terrifying attack, no doubt. It cuts existence. But it's still a technique that has to travel from point A to point B. And what does Gojo's brain do? It processes information at a near infinite rate. In the time it took you to blink, Gojo's 6 eyes could have run a million different scenarios and executed a backup plan. The slash hit the hardware, yes, but the software was already uploaded to the cloud. And this, right here, is where it all clicks. We followed the questions. The ambiguous death scene told us something was hidden. The airport showed us he was at a metaphysical crossroads. The prison realm gave us the precedent for his displacement, and Sukuna's own frustration confirmed our suspicions. Here is the Bureau's official verdict. The 6 eyes, in that final millisecond, performed an emergency extraction. It couldn't save his body, but it could sure as hell save him. His consciousness was shunted into a pocket dimension, a self-made prison realm, the airport between worlds. He didn't die. He ejected. He's not gone. He's just waiting. The Gojo we knew is offline, but his data is still out there, looking for a way to reconnect to the server. So, the real case isn't about mourning him. It's about bringing him back. We've got 3 main extraction plans on the board. You've got Plan Alpha, the copycat, starring Yuta, trying to use his copy ability to create a beacon. Plan Bravo, the metaphysical medic, with Shoko attempting the craziest long-distance surgery in history. And my personal favorite, Plan Charlie, the sole backup. Honestly, this just feels the most Gojo. The man's ego is so big, of course he'd have backups of himself. leaving a sliver of his consciousness in a student like Yuji? It's exactly the kind of chaotic, bet you didn't see that coming, move he'd pull. So, that's your assignment, agents. Which plan do you put your money on? Dig through the evidence. Find the loopholes. This isn't over, not by a long shot. Drop your best theories in the evidence locker below. The Bureau is standing by.